Hi everyone, Phil from Tech for Techs here. Today we're going to be looking at this from Cooler Master. It's the MM720. It's an ultra lightweight claw grip gaming mouse with RGB. It's got a recommended retail price of $59.99. That's $59.99 UK pounds. And if you are interested in purchasing it, click that link in the description below. Okay, so let's have a look at this. As you can see on the box, you can see the mouse. It's got some purple lighting on, which is Cooler Master's colour. It's got their logo. It says "Make it yours," which they tend to use quite often. It's ultralight claw grip gaming mouse with RGB. That means you sort of grip it like that rather than like that. So there's different ways of gripping mice. Claw grip basically means you make your hand in sort of a claw shape to hold it. This has got a matte finish. Apparently there are other versions available. I'll show some pictures above. It is 49 grams. It's got full RGB on there. It's got 16K DPI, so if you're not sure, the higher DPI is, the more sensitive it can be. I'm guessing you can change that on a button, but we'll have a look at that in a minute. It's rated for 70 million clicks, so if you're one of these people who likes clicking a lot, then, well, it's going to be able to do it 70 million times apparently. And it's got IP58 in there as well. So the side of the box just shows all the different languages. On the back it shows you some more information, tells you about the classic ergonomic shape. You've got the honeycomb shell as well it being light, 16K DPI optical sensor, and you've got ultrawave cable, which is a very lightweight cable. It also tells you about the optical switch on there as well as the mouse feet and a stylish RGB on there as well. So obviously you've got everything you probably need in a very lightweight mouse. The box itself is very small, so I'm guessing the actual mouse is going to be quite small and hence it's going to be lightweight. But otherwise, that's pretty much it to see on the box. It does have a hangy hook on top for those of you who need to know for a retail store for any reason. Okay, so this is what we've got in the box. Believe it or not, we have a mouse. Surprise, surprise. You've also got a basic manual there. Would have been nice for just a small QR code, to be honest, so you could see the information a little bit better on their website. That way they could update it, maybe save the environment in the process. But otherwise, you've got 2 bags of glide pads. You can see one here. So you've got double-coated tissue tape there. And in this one, you've got your alcohol pads as well. Obviously that's for the disinfection and cleaning it basically before you put your pads on, so that's always nice. The manual itself doesn't go too much into information. A lot of it's not even in English, but the bit which is in English is on the back, so it gives you the buttons overview there, so you can see what obviously the buttons do and everything. Let's go on to the mouse itself. Let's have a look at the cable first. The cable, standard USB type A cable. It's got purple end on it. That's obviously Cooler Master's colour. They like doing stuff like that. The cable is very soft. I'm going to say it's really hard to show that off on camera. It's very soft, very light, very flexible, and you can sort of screw it up and it sort of stays in that sort of screwed up state, if you know what I mean. It's actually quite durable but also light. It's like got a coating on it, so it's like a mesh coating on there, so that's good. So that'll probably help snagging and stuff like that. So let me just plug it in so you can see what the mouse actually looks like when it's all in. So there you go, so it's plugged in. As you can see straight away, the lights are quite bright on there. Even in these studio lights you can easily see it. There's no problem seeing the light in there, which is pretty good. The inside where the light is, you've sort of got this sort of a whitish bubble, probably is the best way of doing it, or whitish coating what's going over all the internal components, which sort of gives it a sort of it looks a bit like a heart inside a transparent body is probably the best way of putting it, so it sort of glows is probably the best way. Obviously their logo there as well, that lights up, and the wheel lights up as well. Otherwise everything else is lit up, well, just through that one part of lighting other than the wheel. Now this is a claw grip, which is more designed for having your hand like that rather than like that, but in all honesty you could use it like that as a claw grip, that's not a problem, but you could also use it as a palm grip as well. But it is designed mainly for the claw grip because it's not as long as most palm grip mice. It has that sort of a unbalanced look to it because of that claw grip, because you can basically rest your finger on there if you want, depending on how you hold your mouse. You can rest your finger on there and it allows you to glide and move around with ease. The buttons itself, probably average click noise. It's got sort of a false positive of probably 0.5 millimeter, which where you're pressing it down it doesn't actually do anything, but obviously when you hear the click it does, and it's got quite a big travel for the actual left mouse button as well as the right, so probably 1 millimeter either way. So if you push it down just a tad it won't do anything, but if you press it down a little bit more you'll get that click. The side buttons, so for backwards and forwards, or obviously whatever you want, if you decide to program them to be something else, they are there. They're on the side. They are quite clicky as well, so they're not the silentest, but again not too bad. I would have liked probably maybe a little bit of rubber on the side there or something, just to stop my fingers slipping off that bit. There just seems to be something missing there, even if they had the honeycomb effect going a little bit further down. Now strength wise, the mouse does have a bit of flex sideways. That's probably because the honeycomb doesn't make it as strong, possibly. But then saying that, if you're going to be gripping it that hard, that's the last thing you're going to have to worry about, in all honesty. The wheel itself is translucent, so you can sort of see through it. You can see the light on there, and it works obviously like any other wheel on the market. Looking at the bottom, you can see that sensor there. You've got two glide pads, one large one at the front, one at the back, and you do have spare ones, which is always nice. The sensor is there as well, so which you're obviously going to need, and this button here is for adjusting your DPI. When you do press the DPI button, it does change the colours, which you may or may not like, but good thing is if you install the software you can actually change that to your needs or wants. Let's just go through a few basic things about the mouse. We'll have a look at the software in a few minutes, but this mouse is basically aimed for your sort of probably your first person shooter and stuff like that, but the shape is actually sort of a classic shape. So it was actually used on the old Spawn mice. I don't know if you remember the Spawn mice or if you've used them in the past. It's basically the same shape, but obviously it's got that honeycomb effect in it, and it's been brought up to date a little bit as well. So I must admit I was a fan of the Spawn mouse, and I must admit we sold quite a few of them in the years gone by, should we say. So it's got an IP58 dust and waterproof resistance on there as well. So obviously that's mainly designed for obviously sweat and stuff like that, and make it nice sounding. And you've also got your pro grade sensor in there, which is 16,000 DPI, and it's a PixArt sensor as well. It's the MW3389 if you want to know. Obviously weight, it's 89, sorry, it's not 89, it's 49 grams, which compared to some mice, that's, well, half the weight, or in some cases 3 times less the weight than some of them out there. So 33% of the weight of some of the big mice out there, so it is very lightweight. So if you want something that's lightweight, which can move around fast, ideal for stuff like first person shooters, or if you've got a small hand. But saying that, I've got quite a big hand unfortunately, which makes things a bit difficult, but even that I'm finding it pretty comfortable. The left mouse button are in the right place, and my fingers just about fit on the end of the mouse for the claw, so that's pretty good, because there's not many mice my hand can fit on without having an issue. Obviously you've got the RGB effects as well, so you can change the LED colour apparently through the wheel and the forward button at the same time. So hold the wheel down, I'm hoping, and the button, and it lets you change. There we go. So you hold the wheel down, then the forward button, it lets you change the colours there. And also if you press the back button instead, so that one there, it changes the effect style, so you can have it sort of like beating, glowing effect, or different styles. So it goes through the RGB or rainbow effect for you as well. So you've got quite a few different modes on there. It's quite hard to show you on the screen without covering it up, but gives you a rough idea, and you do even have an option to turn it off. Let's just say you didn't want it for whatever reason. But there you go. So you can have it on a static colour, you can have it rotating and so forth. And that's before you even install the software. So yes, you can change the DPI on the bottom. That may change the colour of the mouse, but then you can change the colour of the lighting on the mouse via the mouse without even having to install the software. Obviously it's up to you if you do install the software or not. Obviously that's advisable, because you'll be able to alter a lot of settings, which we'll go through in a few minutes. Okay, so we've got the Cooler Master Plus 1.0 software installed. This will allow you to change your RGB lighting, put macros on and stuff, but it also lets you alter and change things on other Cooler Master devices which support the software. So first screen you get up, it tells you about the CPU. You can see the temperature here, so you can see I'm running a Threadripper, and it also tells you the usage as well as GPU and then voltages as well. You've got a configuration page where you can obviously name your system and so forth, but on the left hand side you can then choose the devices you've got connected, and obviously in this instance it's the MM720, which is the mouse. One thing I will note about the software, it doesn't like 4K resolution, as in, well, the program works, but it cuts off half of the screen, so it doesn't scale properly, even if you change Windows scaling. So it's something nice, would be, well, something I would like to see them fix, because obviously if you're using different resolutions of your screen, it's going to cause lots of issues. And let's have a look at the options first. So at the bottom left, you've got mouse combo. You can enable or disable. That's totally up to you. You've also got scroll up and back forwards buttons here. You can change those to do whatever you want. So if you want the, let's say, the browser backwards button to do something different, you can click on that and change it to run a macro you've set up, or a specific mouse button, disable it, rapid fire, multimedia, DPI, whichever you want. You can even turn the sensor on and off, and you can do that with each of the buttons. Obviously you have to disable the combo button for that to happen. On the right hand side you can click on mouse combo, and it lets you obviously change the other options. So when you're holding the combo button down, which is the wheel, it gives you another option, so you can change that to do whatever you want. So that's obviously totally up to you. At the top it gives you other options for performance. This is where you can change how sensitive it is on here. As you can see, it gives you lots of options on here, even including polling rates, angle snapping, and lift-off distance, which is how high you can actually get it off of the desk or the surface you're using before the sensor stops working. You've got all your OS sensitivity. You've also got double click speed, button response time, and, well, you've got pretty much everything you want. And you can change your DPI on here, as you can see, all the way up to 3200 and as low as 200, depending on how you want it. You've got lighting effects on here as well. So you click on lighting, you can have a static color, so you can choose basically whatever color you want. And again, that's totally up to you. You've got breathing, that's where it sort of like goes in and out effect, and again you can choose the color you want. It's got some presets, or you've got custom colors. You've got color cycle, that's basically where it just changes and rotates, and you can change the speed, how fast and quick it does that. You've also got indicator on there. Doesn't seem to do much with that option. And then you've got custom as well, so you've got lots of different custom colors You can choose, as you can hear, drag the colour from the background or foreground, and it'll let you do it that way. So you've got quite a few different options on there to play about with. So don't get me wrong, it hasn't got as many options as a lot of things which have got different areas. You can have different colours and so forth. It's pretty much all areas of the same colour, so sort of, when you're actually doing it. But obviously that's totally up to you how you have the mouse. You've also got macros as well, just quick info on that one. So it's pretty easy. You can either import or enter a new macro. So enter a macro name, and then you can obviously go from there. So I'll call this test. So that's a macro name. And then you can create your macro run once, hold, toggle, and so forth. So it's really up to you how you want to set up. So, sorry, you have to click the macro name there, and then you can basically record your macro. So you can press different things, press letters on your keyboard, and then it lets you save the macro. So press stop. And then that's your macro, and then you can import, export, and so forth. You've also got profiles, so you can set up different profiles for different games. So you want the mouse to perform differently, let's just say when you're doing Photoshop, then when you play in a first-person shooter or RTS game, you can do that. So in conclusion, if you're looking for a claw grip mouse which has got some nice lighting effects on there and is also very light, ideal for first person shooters or anything else where you need a fast responsive mouse with a nice high DPI as well, then this could be the mouse for you. It's not the cheapest mouse on the market, but it's also not the most expensive. It comes in just under £60, and we do have links in the description below if you're interested. It's nice to see the software that it comes with works on multiple different Cooler Master products. I would like to see Windows, or should I say Microsoft, come out with some software which would work with every single type of device out there and allow you to control them all together rather than having to have separate software for every single manufacturer on the market. Chance that ever happening is extremely slim, but we can only hope. The only issue I had with the software was due to the UI not supporting 4K properly, or at least it looked like it did, apart from when you actually clicked on the mouse screen, so you've got the option for changing the buttons, it would only show half of the mouse, so it wasn't scaling properly. I tried different scaling within Windows, didn't help unless I put the resolution down to full HD from 4K. The only other thing I would have wished they'd added to the mouse would be on the left hand side where you would put your thumb. I would like either the bottom to stick out a little bit more so you can rest your thumb on it, a bit like you can on some of the Mad Catz mice, or the area where you actually grip having more of that honeycomb effect where your thumb wouldn't slip around as much, or maybe even a small piece of rubber just to help with a grip. But saying that, it's only a niggly little thing. The mouse as a whole, very good. Do like it. You got that nice lighting effect. Not that you're really going to see it when you got your hand on top, but it does look nice when obviously you're not touching your mouse. The mouse is very smooth. It's very responsive. It's very, very light, and also you've got the ability of adjusting heights. It's waterproof and all this, that, and the other. So it's got everything you'd probably need from a mouse all in one. So I can't do anything but highly recommend this mouse.